folks, Vitek here from Metal Wani, and with us today we have Bjorn from one of my favorite metal bands, In Flames. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
You guys must be super stoked to have Battles, coming out this November. I'm sure the band must be pumped up for this release, keeping in mind that now you have a new drummer on board.
Yeah, there's so much going on right now. We're super excited. New label, management that we started working with, and those are like the basic things that are actually finally in place. We have the DVD coming out on Friday. We have a new drummer, as you mentioned, so we're going to start rehearsals next week. And our first show coming up in early November, along the time that we release Battles. So yeah, a ton of stuff coming up.
Things are going really well, absolutely. And you guys have already unleashed the end, the truth as well. How's been the response so far from the In Flames fans worldwide?
I'd say in general, it's been really, really good. And it makes me really happy, obviously. I think that we always, since we kind of create the music for us and for our taste, I think we're bound to always divide the audience a little bit. And we have been around for such a long time. So, and making 12 records, it means that we need to do something slightly different every time for us to be really interested and feel that we're doing exactly what we want to do. So of course that it's not everybody agrees on it, but that's just the thing with music. It's a taste thing, and everybody's allowed to have an opinion.
Absolutely, because at every point of time, an artist, when it reaches a certain point in the career, writing music kind of becomes something which should inspire you, which should make more sense to you than actually pleasing someone else. And I'm sure you would agree with this point. So at this point in Flames' career, do you think, like how Siren's Charm came out and now you have Battles, with the kind of sound you guys are inspired by in your writing, do you think this one is again going to be that album where your fans are going to be divided between loving this album and not?
We always kind of divide our listeners into two camps. And I kind of like that fact better, which means you actually affect people. If everybody was said, well, we don't care about this at all, then I would be sad, obviously.
True.
But when I have to say that our sound has evolved so much over all these years, over all this touring, all these different records that we put out, that I understand for a newcomer to listen to Battles and put that next to, let's say, Jester Race. It's quite a transition. I mean, it's quite a difference. But if you keep in mind that there's like 10 records in between and almost 20 years, then I guess you'll see it with different eyes.
Absolutely.
And I think that the most important part is that people actually do care.
True. Right. Indeed, like listening to Battles from last 5 days, I kind of realized that this is the heavier side of In Flames, which obviously fans love, and then you're adding that modern rock touch to kind of sort of make it more of a balance between these two, and as we observed in Siren's Charm. So was there sort of a plan to kind of find this balance between the heavier In Flames sound along with the the inspiration from the modern rock sound?
I think that we always had inspiration from all sorts of genres, and there's no real recipe, to make an In Flames record. I think in the end, if us, all of us that contribute, start playing together and we agree on certain things, it will be sound like an In Flames record. We don't want to do the same record over and over again. There's very few bands can do that. You have probably Maiden; they have very similar albums, I would say, and they get away with it because they're so good at what they do. AC/DC is another one of them. We are not. We're always searching. We need to be satisfied. The five of us. It's like it's when we're happy with it, then negotiation is over. And then because if we don't like it and we have to play the songs 1,000 times live, I probably wouldn't do this. I love each and every song and the way they turned out, and different studios gives it a different atmosphere.
True.
Living in Berlin for six weeks absolutely added melancholy to the sound of Siren Charms, and now living for 9 weeks in LA recording, that obviously gave a different vibe to the record. And you don't really think about that before, but it just happens along the way, and I think it's fantastic. It adds an element that you can't really control.
Indeed, absolutely. Because the songs like, we hear on the album Through My Eyes or The Truth or even in Like Sands, I mean, they have this sing-along, those catchy choruses, the melodic vibe, the grooves which you guys have been developing over the period of time. At this point of career, it kind of looks clear to me that In Flames, you guys don't want to revisit the past. Instead, you want to do something that interests you, that motivates you, that inspires you to write songs.
Mm. Yeah, totally. It's when the five of us, when we're happy, well, at this point, it's actually the four of us because Joe was not part of that. But, I mean, when we're happy with it and we feel like this is really, really how we want to sound, this is really the songs that we feel are missing out there, then, of course, that's the way it's going to sound. And, not everybody will agree on it, but that's not the point. We're not really doing this for a record label. We're not doing this for management. We're actually not even doing it for journalists. We're doing it for ourselves. That's the only way of sort of being true and enjoying it when you're on stage, and hopefully that would affect people when they see us playing it live and actually it feels fresh and it looks like we're actually having a good time. I think that vibe is so important.
Absolutely. You guys worked with Howard on this album. Obviously, you and also Anders, you guys are known for like a team. You guys work on the music together. And at this point of career, you introduced Howard probably as another, member of the band who's part of this songwriting phase, has given you ideas, has been part of it. So this must have been a great experience to include an additional member as part of this entire recording phase.
I'd say we've had producers in the past. We worked with Roberto Låg. We worked with Fredrik Nordström from Fredman. We worked with Daniel Bergstrand from Dugout. And I mean, we worked with all these guys. But it's always been sort of in the end, we will decide anyway.
Right.
We don't really listen. I mean, we do, but basically it's maybe a co-producing kind of thing. This time around, we decided, we have Howard is super good at what he does. Let's use him as a filter, like sort of you can bounce ideas off of him. And he was not writing anything, but he was really, really filtering and really sort of distilling our thoughts and ideas and made us focus in a way that we'd never done before. We never let anybody in,
Yeah.
And we did this time, which it was scary as shit, obviously, in the beginning, but he turned out to be such a really cool guy, very focused. He never wanted to change us into something that we're not. He just wanted us to make sure that we're on, at the top of our game, and he did. His team was fantastic. So the whole experience was. I'm sad that we haven't done it before. Let's put it like that. So
right, doing it in LA also when this bright sunshine ends up giving you more energy that compared to being in Sweden and having that cold temperature there.
Yeah, well, this was recorded like February, March, up until April, and in Sweden it's a really dark time.
Right,
and usually super cold or super wet. In LA, there was a drought. They didn't have enough water for the water reserves even, and it was sunny. It was between 25 and 30 Celsius. Every day. I think we had one rain, and that was during nighttime, so nobody noticed. But then again, we were there to work, and having this efficient team around us, we ended up doing 15 songs instead of the original 11. There's actually 12 on the record, but we still have 3 more songs, and that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't such an inspiring, efficient environment, and just the people that we work with just. I didn't want to, lie in the sun and sip the cold beer. I could sit in the studio, sip the cold beer, and create.
True. Obviously, it's really good to hear because in battles, I mean, you've written some sing-along tracks, some really technical tracks. Let me say, Through My Eyes, The Truth, and you focus more on the grooves and also how you guys write those tight-sounding, sharp riffs. So the emphasis lies more on the songwriting than actually trying to write something extremely heavy. So this seems to be like a productive session which you guys had, obviously, with Anders as well, and keeping the influence you guys have from Siren. So it must have been an easy process to write these songs for battles.
I think that we sort of had a vision of what we wanted to try this time. Again, there's no recipe. We just knew and sort of decided early we wanted to be very guitar heavy. So there's a lot of guitars on there. which obviously I love. That's sort of where I come from.
Right.
But also, we really do like to get to the point quickly in a song. We're not like the other brilliant bands like Opeth or Dream Theater, when it can take you a good 5 minutes before you hear a chorus. We want to get to the chorus really quickly, because choruses, for us, playing so much live that we do, has always been such an important part of the song.
Right.
And at the same time, we're not straying away from who we are. I mean, we're a metal band to begin with, and that will always be part of how we do things. So there will be a solo, there will be distorted guitars, there will be chunky guitars riffing together with the drums and everything. But we still want to get to the point, you know.
Right.
And, that's just our way of our take on metal. And I'm sure not everybody would agree, but this is the way we like to listen to our metal.
True. Absolutely. And obviously, Anders on vocals has kicked ass again. He's introduced growls, obviously, and also his clean approach as well. So, and again, like Sands, that particular track, along with Drained, was such a good combination to see the growls and the cleans coming in, and also the majority of the album is with cleans. So looks like he's having a great time, writing the lyrics and singing them along in the studio. So it must have been like an exhilarating experience for you to see Anders exploring some of his vocal techniques on every In Flames record, one by one.
Yeah, totally. I mean, back in the day, it used to be like we finished the songs, musically, and then the last couple of days we just added the vocals on top, and that's very uninspiring, and it's not really fair to Anders and his instrument. And it took us a lot of records to find out how we wanted to do things. And the writing session for this record, for Battles, was the first time we actually worked together on each and every part. I mean, Anders didn't write any riffs, but he was there and filtered my ideas, and we arranged everything together. I could start working together with him on the vocal melodies and arrangements of that, and creating the choruses and everything. And then we took it to Howard, who's phenomenal at exactly vocals.
Right,
so
right.
For us, it was a great combination, a great new, for us, way of working that we haven't done before. And again, that's kind of sad that it took us so long to understand this is the way that we're most productive, most inspired.
Right.
And I'd say this is exactly the way I want to work in the future.
Awesome. That's good to hear. And you have the new drummer as well, which obviously Howard has introduced you. He has really big shoes to fill in, which I'm sure you guys are aware of.
Of course, yeah.
And how's it been so far? I mean, I'm sure you're stoked to see how fans are going to, perceive his drumming on the album as well as live.
To be honest, not worried at all about his drumming, because the first time he sat behind the drum kits and said, let me have a shot, let me have a go at it. And he started playing, and we were just laughing because it was so good. His technique is very similar to how Daniel plays. It's very, very consistent. Like he's not all over the place. He's really, really focused on what he wants to do. He writes his parts in advance, and he lays it down, and then he wants to make it perfectly. And then I'm sure that that's how it's going to be live as well. So I'm sure people will welcome him with wide open arms, and he will fit right in. And we haven't really played together yet, and we haven't actually done any live shows yet. So we'll see, obviously, but the feeling I have is really, really good.
Awesome. That's good to hear. So if you had to kind of describe the sound of Battles in just a sentence, what would you say?
Wow. Probably it's a very guitar-driven, straight-to-the-point album. It's a metal album.
That's a metal album. There you go. Thanks a lot, Bjorn. It's been a great time having a chat with you. I look forward to see you guys live when you come with Avenged Sevenfold, early next year.
Yeah.
That'll
be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Indeed.
Very cool. Thank you so much for having me. Right?
Cheers. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Yeah.
All right. Bye-bye.